What's up, everybody? This is What is Sports? I'm your host, Tyler Dietz. With me is Nick Grant.
Hey, happy to be here. Let's talk some sports and some baseball and some other exciting topics.
Yeah, all the others. Also, I got JP Cochran back from the dead. How's it going, JP?
It's going well. Sorry I had to miss last week's episode. Had to attend a concert in Dallas. Been going to a lot of concerts this year.
We get it, JP. You're cool and you have a life, unlike us. We get it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of those things I didn't know until the last, the day before. I need to keep a calendar.
Yeah, it's all good as long as you had fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was a good time.
Well, today we're going to be talking about a game recap of Michigan at Penn State, and our main topic is going to be the MLS Playoffs. I'm going to get you guys caught up on that, and I can't wait to tell y'all about this crazy weekend of soccer that y'all probably missed, but I'll get y'all caught up on it. And then we have news and stuff like that, but first, a couple of social media plugs. If you enjoy what you hear this episode, give us a like on our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter at WhatIsSports1 with no question mark. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to our show on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or Google Play. And pretty pleased with Sugar on Top, leave us a rating and review if you enjoy the show. Also, check out our sister show, What is Nerd? This week, we're going to be talking about occult horror movies. We watched Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist, a couple of spooky little horror films.
Very spooky.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be getting into that this week. Finally, if you have any comments or questions, send us an email at wisportscast@gmail.com. All right, news. So last episode, I made a mistake about rugby.
It was a pretty fatal mistake at that, too.
Yes, I was under the impression that the rugby quarterfinals would not be airing on television. I was wrong. So they did air on television. They were on NBC Sports, the NBC Sports Network. We had the quarterfinals on Saturday and Sunday. And I don't know why I thought that they were just airing online, because I did have these set to record on my DVR. And so I did get to watch them. Nick, did you get to watch any of it?
I watched a little bit of the England and Australia game.
Yeah.
And that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't watch all of it because it was Saturday, and I was like, this is cool, but I also kind of like to watch college football. But, it was very entertaining, even though the final result wasn't that great.
Well, and I feel like rugby, maybe it's for us since rugby's new for us, and it's like we're just kind of interesting to watch. It's always entertaining, I feel like, even if the match isn't very close. It's always fun to watch anyways. But yeah, as you said, England destroyed Australia 40-16. We also had on Saturday New Zealand beat Ireland 46-14, which was expected because New Zealand is kind of the favored team to win the World Cup overall.
Didn't they win it last year?
Yes, they've won more than any other team. They've won 3 times, I think.
And I think those two matches, the England and Australia and New Zealand and Ireland, I mean, I know New Zealand's really good and everything, but I'm kind of surprised that for the quarterfinals they were both blowouts.
But the New Zealand-England game, I feel like, is going to be awesome. That's going to be this coming Saturday.
So that's that'll be the semifinals?
Yes, the semifinals. So England is going up against New Zealand. I'm rooting for England personally because New Zealand, I think, winning four Rugby World Cups is a bit much.
Yeah, they're kind of like the New England Patriots of rugby. It sounds like.
Exactly. And so that's going to be Saturday, the 26th at 3 a.m. Central Time. So wake up bright and early.
Or just record it like us, and you can watch it whenever you want.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to stay away from spoilers for the Rugby World Cup because no one else is talking about it besides us, in the United States at least.
Well, not that we're aware of. I'm sure there's some other people out there talking about it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that there's a U.S. rugby podcast out there somewhere.
Probably.
But Sunday, the 20th, we had Wales beat France, which, again, the Welsh rugby team is fantastic. That was a closer match, though, 20-19.
Think of how tiny Wales is compared to France. I mean, isn't Wales just like a small part of the UK?
Of the UK, yes.
Yeah.
it's like a state, basically. So they beat France 20-19, and then South Africa beat Japan 26-3, which was unfortunate because Japan was kind of the underdogs that everyone is rooting for, since Japan is the home team. The World Cup's being hosted in Japan, and Japan did very well in the group stage matches, so a lot of fans were excited to see Japan succeed. So I was rooting for them, but South Africa dominated them. So Wales and South Africa are going to be playing Sunday the 27th at 4 a.m. Central. And my money for this is on Wales, personally.
I hope Wales wins it all, partly because I wish I could speak their language.
They got a crazy language.
Yeah.
There was a book that I read that the book was called The Water Cure. And there's a character in that book named... L-L-E-W is how his name was spelled.
Lou.
Do you know in Welsh that's pronounced Clwf? Did y'all know that?
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty common knowledge. I mean, that's just how their language is.
I was about to say loop, a.k.a. Clwf.
But yeah, that's the craziest pronunciation.
Yeah, the V is invisible. You just have to know it's there.
Hey, have you ever seen that Welsh town? Well, I can't pronounce it. Even the abbreviated portion, but it's Lanfarpwlgy.
It's probably pronounced like Joseph or something like that.
Yeah, probably so.
Well, next up we got Nick giving us a little bit of an MLB Playoffs update. What's going on with this?
Well, a lot's been happening. The American League Championship Series wrapped up. The Astros won it 4-2. And last time we talked, I think it was the middle of Game 4. The Astros ended up winning 8-3. Game 5 was in New York, and the Yankees won 4-1. Went back to Houston, where the Astros won 6-4. It was actually a pretty exciting game. The Yankees tied it up, and it was the bottom of the ninth, and Jose Altuve came up to the plate. They had a runner on and hit a 2-run home run and walked the game off. So it's very exciting.
Yeah. I'm really happy to see my Astros in the World Series. I watched both of these, enjoyed them quite a bit, and I'm glad that it's the Nationals and the Astros, because actually I've really taken a liking to the Nationals in playoffs. I never really gave them a second thought until I started watching them for playoffs, and I think it was the last episode or a couple episodes ago, I was talking about how I would like to see a World Series against these two. So, hey, I'm happy with this matchup right here. Personally, I don't know. I think that the Astros will dominate the Nationals, but
I think it'll be a close series. A lot of people are saying that just because the Astros have been so good for the last few years. But I think the Astros, I guess compared to the last few years, they've been they're just they're I guess in more of a slump than they have been. And
a slump. They're in the World Series.
Well, no, I'm talking about hitting. Not terribly, but I mean, I guess the last time they were World Series, that they were just like getting in rallies and crushing the ball and would score 8-10 points in a game or something like that. I don't know. Their games have seemed closer this year. They've had to rely on 2 walk-off homers, but I'm saying the Nationals, they have their pitching is almost as good as the Astros, better than the Yankees. So I think it'll just be some bunch of pitching duels.
Yeah, well, and I might be exaggerating this in my head. I feel like Verlander has been kind of underperforming in the playoffs. Do you guys feel that way?
Yeah,
or am I just imagining that?
He's had a few rough games. I know when the Astros were playing the Rays, Verlander was roughed up quite a bit. I think it might have been Game 4, and I can't remember for sure, but it was one of the later games, and he was roughed up. And then he also, against the Yankees, I know he gave up a few runs, but I think that was the 4-1 game on Game 5. I think he gave up 4 runs pretty early on, but then he gave
up 4 runs in the first inning and didn't allow another one for the rest of the time.
Yeah, I mean, he was fantastic for the rest of the game.
Yeah, so he just needs to get off to a quick start. But in this game, so the World Series starts tonight, and it'll be Garrett Cole starting tonight. So who's the ace pitcher? Verlander. I think he has started some series, but I think Garrett Cole. He's just the dominant pitcher in the MLB right now. So I think tonight the first night of the game of the World Series. I think it'll be a low scoring game, but I could. Be wrong.
Because the Nationals have Max Scherzer pitching tonight.
Who?
Max Scherzer.
Oh, okay, Scherzer.
And he's fantastic. So
yeah.
It'll definitely if it's not a pitcher's duel tonight, and this is Tuesday night, so game 1. If it's not a pitcher's duel, I will be very shocked.
Yeah.
For what JP said, Garrett Cole's been the best, if not one of the top 2 or 3 pitchers in the majors this year. A lot of people expect him to win the American League Cy Young, and he's been awesome. So it should be a fun game to watch. Hopefully it is, and we'll find out.
Yeah,
by the time this recording's out.
Yeah, listeners will already know the turnout, but we can talk about it on Twitter or something like that whenever we get the results in. And
what do you guys think? Like, who do you think's going to win, and how many games do you think the World Series is going to be?
Yeah, so I'm going to stick. I hope to see a 7-game World Series. I would love that. Again, I like the Nationals a lot. I think that the Astros are going to win. I'll say in Game 6. Astros win by Game 6.
You took my prediction. I was going to say Astros in 6 games. That's what I was going to say too.
Well, you can't pick that because I already did.
No, I am. I thought it before you did.
Well, guys, I think the Astros are going to win in 6 games.
All right.
No, I'm kidding. I think I don't know. I would like you said, Dietz. I would like to see a very interesting World Series, especially when you don't have a dog in the fight. You just want to be entertained when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
But I think the Nationals will give the Astros a run for their money in the games, but ultimately, I think the Astros just have too much firepower on offense, and
I want it to go 7 games, and also like I said, the Astros have seemed to be in a hitting slump, but recently, their big hitters, Altuve, Correa. Actually, mainly those. Each of those guys hit a walk-off home run. They just seem to be hitting the ball. And early in the playoffs, they were pretty cold, it seemed like. But anyway.
Yeah. I'm happy either way because Astros my home team, and then always want to see them win. But then Nationals win. That's wild card team winning the World Series. That is the type of stories that I want to see in baseball.
Right. It'd be pretty cool. And ultimately, I think the Astros will win in 5. But like you said, if it goes to 7 games, that'd be awesome. So. All
right. Well, so Nick, you got some notable college football games up next for us, right?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of ranked matches that had a lot of games going on this past weekend. Number 12 Oregon defeated number 25 Washington 35-31, so that was a pretty good game. Number 13 Utah defeated number 17 Arizona State 21-3, so not as good. This was kind of an upset. Number 14 Boise State lost to BYU 28-25, and again, number ranked 18 Baylor, they defeated Oklahoma State 45-27. And
is Oklahoma State unranked?
They are unranked, but I just wanted to mention that because in the last episode we talked about how Baylor is undefeated and they were kind of not lowly ranked, but they were ranked 18. And we're like, well, why are they ranked that way? There might be some skepticism on the legitimacy of their team, but Oklahoma State's a pretty good team, and the fact that Baylor went on the road and destroyed Oklahoma State 45-27, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, because that was your other recommendation for the recap game this week.
Yeah,
and
I'm glad we didn't watch it because it wasn't as good of a game as I thought it was going to be.
Fun fact, this is the first time since 1986 that SMU and Baylor have been in the top 25.
It's actually pretty impressive. Yeah, because SMU, they had the death penalty, which...
Yeah, and this is the first time...
Wait, explain that, the death penalty.
Well, basically, long story short, JP, correct me if I'm wrong, SMU is paying its players, and there's a lot of shenanigans happening, and that's why they had a good team, is because they were paying these players and recruits, and the NCAA found out about that.
I do remember hearing about that. When was that?
Late 80s.
Hey, if you want to learn more about it, there's a 30 for 30 about that.
Yes, that's where I heard about that. That's right.
So, was it the Pony Express?
Yes.
Is that the 30 for 30?
Yes, that's very good. That's a very good one.
But yeah, they killed the program for, was it a year or two? Or was it a few years? They didn't have a football program, and then SMU, when they came back, they weren't that great. Moving on, we had number 20 Minnesota, who's also undefeated. They defeated Rutgers 42-7. And here's a little. We have two upsets. Number 22 Missouri. Missouri lost to Vanderbilt 21-14. And just want to let y'all know, before the game started, Vanderbilt was 1-5. So that's kind of a pretty good size upset. But the big upset was number 6 Wisconsin. They lost at Illinois 24-23 on a field goal as time expired.
Wow.
And we were talking about the other weeks about how Wisconsin, how their defense was fantastic, and they have been fantastic. They had, I think, 3 shutouts, and they were doing great. But leading up to this game, Wisconsin was 6-0, and Illinois was 3-3. And I would put this up there kind of with the Georgia and South Carolina upset. I mean, it's a pretty big deal.
I heard they ate too much cheese before the game. That's why they were.
Yeah, that might be too much cheese, too much milk, just a lot of dairy, and they couldn't get moving. But yeah, pretty surprising. So.
Well, thank you very much, Nick. JP, do you have any NFL updates for us this week?
Well, the most exciting, the Cowboys, big NFC East game. Cowboys destroyed the Eagles.
Yeah, go Cowboys.
Yeah, forgot what the score, like something to 34, something to 10. I don't know, but Cowboys have been having a rough time. They lost 3 games in a row.
It was because we watched them for this show. That is what put them on their losing streak whenever we watched them play against New Orleans. And it's our fault, honestly.
Yeah, so let's never watch them for our show again.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
One of the bigger pieces of news, the Chiefs quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, he's injured. He's out for a couple of weeks.
Okay, and I feel terrible because I was like super stoked.
Because you're excited that he's hurt?
Yes, because of our fantasy football league.
Yeah, rolling with Mahomes.
Yeah, because rolling with Mahomes is unstoppable. He's got like 50 more points than anyone else in our league.
Well, he's about to be going down.
Yeah, I mean, I felt terrible though after I was like got excited for that. I'm like, wait a minute, Mahomes is a human being. I should not be excited that he is hurt.
So anyway, Patriots are 7-0 again somehow. Oh gosh, I don't know if either of y'all watched Monday Night Football last night, but they totally destroyed the Jets. Sam Darnold had an awful performance. He had 4 interceptions.
Damn.
And a fumble. I saw some of those interceptions. He looked like a high school player out there. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of depressing because they just beat the Cowboys last week. So
yeah,
I don't know what was going on there. The Dolphins are terrible. They haven't won a game. Bengals are terrible. They have not won a game.
See, isn't that the norm for both of them though?
Dolphins kind of. Bengals.
The Bengals have been pretty good.
They're kind of
or been mediocre for a little while.
They're kind of like a 9-7 team every year. Redskins are bad. They've only won 1 game. Falcons are terrible. They've only won 1 game.
Yeah, and now Matt Ryan's injured. I think he messed up his ankle in the last game. And the Falcons, they're selling. They today they traded away Mohamed Sanu for a 2nd-round draft pick to the New England Patriots. So
yeah,
and I read some stuff that they might trade away their tight end Austin Hooper. So it's crazy. There's a lot of trades today. Emmanuel Sanders, he was traded to the 49ers in a 5th-round pick for a 3rd and 4th-round pick. He was with the Broncos.
Well. And so Mahomes is out for, they said 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, that's what they're expecting.
Yeah.
He had a dislocated kneecap, and did you guys see the footage of the trainers popping his knee back in place?
Oh gosh, no, I did not see that.
No, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, that was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I'm glad
you
I
can
didn't
find
see
it online, but make sure you're ready to see what you're about to see. It's pretty gross.
And also one more thing, a very surprising team, at least to me, with 49ers. They're undefeated. But anyway, yeah, it's surprising. I mean, I don't think anybody predicted that the 49ers would be undefeated going into this week. So the next week will mark the halfway points with the season. So
dang, already?
Yep.
Wow. All right, well, thanks, JP. Let's keep this football train rolling with our game recap.
Game recap.
This week we watched Penn State play Michigan. Penn State defeated Michigan 28-21. So what did you guys think of this game?
I thought it was a pretty entertaining game. I hate to say this because I feel like it's such a sore loser thing to say, but really I think if the game lasted another 10 minutes or maybe just another quarter, I think Michigan would have won by 2 possessions.
Were you rooting for Michigan?
I guess just because they were the underdog on the road. Mm-hmm. But it was a pretty entertaining game.
Is Jim
Penn State was all over.
The coach of Michigan? I'm sorry.
Yes, Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah,
coach of Michigan.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I root for Penn State. I don't like him.
I was just looking for an entertaining game, but the first half is pretty much all Penn State, and in the second half, it was the roles were reversed, and Michigan was really surging and trying to make something happen. And
yeah, it was kind of, I don't know, because I've never really watched Penn State play, but after the first half, it was kind of embarrassing for Penn State to just see them get, to see Michigan catch up so much, after they had started with such a good lead.
Right, yeah, because at the end of the first quarter, it was 7-0 Penn State, and then the second quarter, at the half, it was 21-7 Penn State, and they were just, rocking and rolling, man. Their main receiver, KJ Hamler, he had 6 catches, 108 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. He was dominating. But yeah, it was Penn State just couldn't get anything going on in the second half. And I kind of felt like Michigan deserved to win just with the way they fought back and battled back. But it still was pretty. From the games we've watched for game recaps, I feel like this was probably one of the better ones that we've seen.
Yeah, this was a good one. We've had a couple of disappointing weeks, I think. So this one was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it looks like, as far as the stats, I think Michigan, if you looked at everything on paper, you would think that Michigan won because they have more passing yards, rushing yards. I don't know. It looks like, Penn State got away with one there. But
oh, yeah, because Michigan's offense, they totaled 417 yards, while Penn State only totaled 283. And even the time of possession was heavily in favor of Michigan, where they had almost 38 minutes compared to 22 for Penn State. So it was all Michigan in the second half, and it just wasn't enough to overcome their deficit.
Now, on up to our main topic, I'm going to be talking about Major League Soccer.
All right,
so,
let's do it.
Honest to goodness question. Have either of y'all ever watched a Major League Soccer game?
No.
Honest to goodness answer, I have not.
I would like to go to an FC Dallas game, but no. That's the only time I think I would watch one if I went to a game in person. But
yeah, well, I haven't been to an FC Dallas game either. But I think that would be fun to do a little field trip for What Is Sports sometime next year, maybe whenever the season starts up. But yeah, the MLS playoffs are going on right now. They started last weekend, and I didn't do a preview of the playoffs because I hadn't been keeping up with the regular season too much. But this weekend I watched all the playoff games this weekend, and there were several. And it was awesome. This past weekend was a fantastic weekend for soccer in MLS. So a couple of things about the playoffs. Are you guys familiar with the 2-legged playoff format?
The two what?
No.
2-legged, as in it's got 2 legs like a person?
No, I have not. Tell us about it, Dietz.
Tell us about it.
So the 2-leg playoff format is each matchup. So let's say that FC Dallas was playing against Seattle in their matchup. They would play 2 games against them, and the way that the winner would be determined, they take the aggregate score of both games, and that determines the winner. So if the first game is 2-2 and the second game is 3-2, then you take the combined score of 5-4, and then whoever has more points wins. That's how MLS has been in the past, but this year has been a little bit unusual because they have changed the format to single elimination playoffs. And a lot of people were nervous about this going in because it's March Madness basically at this point.
Yeah, but in a sense, that's what the World Cup does. Granted, there's the group stages, but once those are through, it's single elimination. So
right, and I think that the group stage, though, I think that people are more comfortable with that because it really weeds out the weaker teams, and so in the round of 16, it's really just the best teams, and you don't really have that much room for crazy upsets. But I kind of agree. I like the pressure of single elimination tournaments because every point, every game matters a bunch. And a bunch of people were nervous that this would result in upsets, kind of like at a level that is undeserved, I think. But the result was actually fantastic soccer matches.
Yeah, and when there's more at stake, and upsets are part of sports. Everybody enjoys watching an upset, unless it's your team. But people typically like upsets, and keep it in there. I think what they're doing is great. I'm all for it.
I think it's fun, and even with the format that they have now, because FC LA and New York City FC are the top two teams in the tournament, and they get the advantage of getting to skip the first round. And so I feel like it gives the advantage to the top seeded teams in a way that's sort of fair. So they haven't played yet because we just played through the first round. So New York City and LA Football Club haven't played yet. In round one, though, we had some really exciting matches, and really there was only one upset, but it wasn't even a big upset. It was the fourth and fifth ranked teams that played each other, and so that was LA Galaxy beat Minnesota United, and that really wasn't that much of an upset because their regular season points were so close. The way that it works, though, is so first of all, since it is playoffs, they do have overtime. The way that overtime works is if the score is tied after 90 minutes, the 90-minute normal play time, then you have two 15-minute periods of extra time at the end.
I feel like they should just have one because golly, it just keeps on going and going.
Well, it's two extra so that each side can start with the ball, right? And so to kind of make it fair. But what's crazy about this is that out of the 6 first-round matches that were this weekend, 3 of them were overtime. So first of all, on Saturday, we had Atlanta beat New England 1-0. This wasn't the most exciting match, but Atlanta scored at minute 70, so kind of about halfway through the second period of the game. So it was a decent match. I think that even with soccer, if the score is 0-0, so long as the points get scored in the second half, it's still a relatively exciting match. So Atlanta wins. Next up, we got Seattle beating Dallas, okay? Which, granted, we have a bias because we're a Dallas-based podcast, but even though Seattle won, and I was a little bit disappointed in that, this was still a fantastic game. It was 4-3, so Seattle won 4-3.
So that's like a pretty high-scoring game for a soccer game.
Exactly. It was action-packed because you get Seattle. They score at minute 18 and minute 22, so back-to-back before the first half was over.
And then you think like the game's totally over. Like if in a soccer match, if the score is 2-0, I don't know. If I'm watching it, I'll just turn it to something else because I'm just like there's so many few goals scored that just the chance of the other team coming back is small.
Yeah, especially if it's back-to-back in the first half, it's a little bit like it seems like the game is basically over. But then Dallas scores. Reggie Cannon scored a shot at minute 39. So first half ended Seattle with the lead 2-1. In the second half, Dallas scored again. Matt Hedges scored a goal at minute 63. And then you have Jordan Morris scoring his second goal of the game for Seattle at minute 74. Then you get Dallas scoring again. Brian Acosta scored at minute 82. So this ties the game at 3-3 within the last 8 minutes of the match. So it's a really close, tense, back-and-forth match. It goes into overtime. And then Jordan Morris scores for Seattle in the last 7 minutes of the second overtime. So,
so he got the hat trick.
Yes, exactly, yes. And so, that's 3 goals in a single game. Yeah, Jordan Morris is like a hero for Seattle at this point. And he had just played in the U.S. men's national team match against Canada, in which the U.S. lost, which was kind of a big loss for them. So him coming back from losing in that match was like a big deal, so he can win for Seattle in this. So really exciting match, a lot of fun, like the best Major League Soccer match that I've seen this year, even though Dallas lost, which is saying a lot. All right, moving on. I'm going to kind of move a little bit quicker through these. Next, we got Toronto beat DC United 5-1, which sounds like a one-sided match, but in the regular playtime, Toronto scores once and DC scores once. Toronto's first goal was in minute 32. DC's first goal was in minute 93. So he scored in the extra time that's added to the end of the match. And so they tied up the match at the very, very end. Then it went into overtime. Toronto scores 4 goals in overtime
That's awesome.
to win the match. Yeah. So looking at that score, you don't think it's a close match, but if you're watching it, it was pretty insane. All right, and then you get Salt Lake City beating Portland 2-1, which again, this was a pretty entertaining match. It was tied at the end of the first half, and then Salt Lake City wins in the last 3 minutes of the match with the second goal. And then Sunday, you get another high-scoring game. You get Philadelphia beating the New York Red Bulls 4-3. And that one also ended in overtime with a winning goal by Marco Fabian for Philadelphia. And then the final match of the weekend was LA Galaxy beating Minnesota, and this was the only upset. But again, it wasn't that much of an upset because LA Galaxy was ranked 5, Minnesota was ranked 4. This match ended LA Galaxy winning 2-1. And this was kind of the least exciting match of the weekend, but still not too bad. This Wednesday, the day that this podcast gets released, you have the conference semifinals. You have the Eastern Conference, New York City FC. They're the number 1 ranked team in their conference, playing against Toronto FC at 6 p.m. Central. And then for the Western Conference semifinals on Wednesday this week, you have the Seattle Sounders, they're the second-ranked team, versus Real Salt Lake, the third-ranked team, at 9 p.m. Central. Thursday, you got Atlanta United, ranked 2, versus Philadelphia, ranked 3, at 7 p.m. Central. And then LAFC, which is the number 1 ranked team, versus LA Galaxy, which is the 5th ranked team, at 9:30 p.m. Central. So that's 2 Los Angeles soccer teams playing against each other in the conference semifinals. Then you get the conference finals, which are Tuesday and Thursday of next week, and the finals will be Sunday, November 10th. So we got some time before that. So I highly suggest checking out the semifinals this week, Wednesday and Thursday evening.
What channel will they be on?
The conference semifinals for Wednesday are going to be on Fox Sports 1. And then on Thursday this week, it's going to be on the Atlanta United versus Philadelphia. It's going to be ESPN 2. And then Los Angeles versus LA Galaxy is going to be ESPN. So there you go. That's the schedule. So tune in. It's a lot of fun, especially, given that it's proven now that this single elimination formula isn't a fluke. Like it actually makes for really exciting soccer games because the players are not playing conservatively. They're kind of playing with like a certain type of pressure, right? They're kind of desperate to make goals in a way that makes the matches really fun to watch. So check it out. All right. I think that's all we have for today's episode. Do you guys have any closing thoughts or things you want to say? We don't have any Tony Baloney this week, do we, Nick?
No Tony Baloney, but I would like to say, if you're interested in rugby, check it out. It, like we've been saying, it's really fun, and I've really enjoyed it, and it's cool, man. Check it out. NBC Sports Network. You have the the semifinals coming up, so don't miss it. Be really
That's
great.
right, yeah. Set your DVRs. Don't be staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning. That's crazy. But set it to record, though. Also, so JP missed last episode. I was talking about AEW, All Elite Wrestling. Y'all need to be watching this Wednesday nights. So that's the day that this releases. 7 p.m. Central on TNT. Tune in. Or if you don't want to commit to that, at least watch the AEW Dark on YouTube. Yeah, that's right. Which this week's episode it'll be out already since our podcast releases on Wednesdays. So AEW Dark every Tuesday on YouTube. Check it out.
All right, man. I'm gonna go get Dark.
So that's all we have for this episode of What Is Sports. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed what you heard, please leave us a rating and review on iTunes. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Next week, we haven't decided necessarily on a topic. What about NBA? Y'all want to talk about NBA?
Yeah,
man, let's do it.
It's amazing
Let's
that it's about to start up again. It feels like we just covered
it feels like it just ended,
Yeah.
doesn't it? So that does it. We're going to be talking about the NBA season 2019. Going to be getting a preview of what to expect this season. We haven't decided on a game recap yet, but we will discuss that off mic and post that on social media. So check that out on Twitter, Facebook, and I guess we're on Instagram now too, at WhatIsSports1. So thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you guys next Wednesday.